Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. We are 68 days, 54 minutes, and 30 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 season. And I tell you what, I just can't wait. I can't wait. It cannot get here soon enough. So I'm sitting here thinking about last night's live stream. We had a ball last night with Vash, with Michael Anthony Fitness, with E2 Blue, as well as DMV Dallas Cowboys. In fact, we got into all kinds of subjects last night. We actually gave Vash his manhood. He got to actually smoke a cigar for the first time and really kind of chilled the heck out. Maybe that guy needs to smoke cigars more often. We found out that E2 Blue likes to eat leather. That's right, he likes his steaks medium well done, but we're actually going to show him how to cook a steak right. But I kicked off my show last night actually with this clip from First Take that had Marcus Spears. Now, of course, the Cowboys nation is divided on whether or not we pay Dak and pay Amari, or we pay Zeke, or who do we pay, or maybe we don't pay anybody and things like that. We hear things that like Dak is, he's not the guy. He's doesn't have an upside in things. But I just want you to guys think back to 2015 when you had just guys, Matt Castle, who played well under Bill Belichick, who went to a Pro Bowl at one point. You had, of course, Brandon Weeden, who got the Texans into the playoffs. You had Kellen Moore. Those three guys got one win collectively out of 12. One. So don't say that just anybody can just walk in and win. But anyway, I want you to watch this, and then I'm going to ask you a couple questions after this.
Do you
Yeah,
think he should be paid like one of the highest receivers in the game?
not the highest, not in that tier. There
Like
are
second
tiers.
tier?
I think he's in that second tier for sure. What he's been able to do. But look, when you look at what Amari Cooper was able to do this year in Dallas, this thing was tailored for him. So now, here we go. Everybody knows now when you walk on the field, you're the number one option for the Dallas Cowboys offense on the outside. How do you respond to that? When you see receivers get paid, it's a number of years. They don't jump to pay receivers early. No franchise does unless you're stupid, unless you hadn't seen this guy put in work and have the ability to carry that torch as a number one guy at least for 2 or 3 years before you make that decision. The Giants ain't give Odell Beckham $98 million because they liked him. They gave it to him because he was a highly productive and in the first tier of wide receivers. Amari Cooper has to work himself to that. He's wanting $18 to $20 million a year. I'm not.
I'm not
giving him.
I like Amari Cooper, but I'm not giving him that.
I give him 15.
That's Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
That's Julio Jones.
I give him 15.
That's DeAndre Hopkins. That's those guys. But would I give Amari 15 a year? I'd give him 15 a year.
Yeah.
And by the way, getting.
Let me ask something real quick. Well, I'm going to pause this right here because this struck on a couple of things. The offense was tailored for Amari Cooper. I don't get that one right there. The offense was tailored for Amari Cooper. Our offense has been stuck in the Stone Age. Our offense under Scott Linehan was just kind of screwy. We had Des Bryant, who didn't have the success or didn't have the team-changing ability that Amari Cooper had. Now, I know we're talking about how much money should Amari Cooper get paid, and they say he's not a top-tier wide receiver. They look at Odell Beckham and say, well, he's a top tier. Well, with Odell, you've got things that you love and you have things that you hate. Yeah, you paid him as a top-tier wide receiver, but what did it get the New York Giants? How many playoff games did the New York Giants win because they paid Odell Beckham or had him on the roster? Odell's career was famous for one catch, which poetically has been the summation of his career. The one-handed catch, then he got hurt and they lost the game. He's more sizzle than substance. And I think Odell Beckham is overvalued. But let's go on. And here's my question to you. Our Cowboys were 3-5, spiraling out of control. And we had 7-2 record with Amari Cooper. We had excitement galore. We ended up beating the Philadelphia Eagles. Regardless of the Eagles talking about how great they are, those chumps lost to the Dallas Cowboys twice. And you can definitely say that one in Dallas with Amari Cooper's 3 touchdowns was the knife that killed them. We don't make the playoffs last year. We don't beat the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs without an Amari Cooper. So as we sit here and talk about the top priced wide receivers, and let me actually look it over the cap. Over the cap, as we look at these numbers, yeah, Odell's getting paid 18, but did he get his team to the playoffs? One time in his career, right? And he didn't even show up for practice. He was down in Miami, wasn't he? Hanging out with Justin Bieber? Okay. Antonio Brown, yeah, Antonio Brown's got some fantastic numbers, but what did the Steelers do the whole time they had Antonio Brown? Were they winning Super Bowls because of him? Tampa Bay with Mike Evans. Did Mike Evans help them make it to the playoffs? Now, you could say DeAndre Hopkins. Well, Hopkins, boy, he makes his quarterback look good because that guy can jump out the building and will catch balls that if Dak threw, they would say Dak is inaccurate. And, you know, as you go down and you say that, well, he should get paid $15 million. So you're saying that Sammy Watkins, who's getting thrown to by Pat Mahomes, that he's less valuable than Sammy Watkins? Really? Okay, let's go back to the tape here.
Back to Dak. I'm not sitting there saying, excuse me, 33 million to throw that number out that you threw out there. But excuse me, if Russell Wilson gets 107 million in guarantees based on his resume and productivity, guess what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, all right, you're going to get a little bit less. And the fact that you gave Carson Wentz the same amount of guaranteed dollars vexes me because look, he doesn't deserve that.
Dak is a $20 to $25 million a year player if you're a smart franchise. He probably gets paid more than that because I don't think the Cowboys are very smart with the way they do this all the time, although they've gotten smarter. Amari Cooper, I'll tell you why I would pay him. I think his upside is end of the first.
Wait. Didn't his team pay Odell Beckham $18 million a year and then ship him out of town and are still paying $16 million this year? And you have the nerve to talk about how somebody else isn't real bright? Take a look at your GM and the moves that he's made. Come on now, Max. Those that live in glass houses should not cast a stone.
Tier. Like, he's never going to be better than Odell or Antonio Brown or Julio Jones, but I think he might be like the last guy you'll mention in that first tier of guys. I think that's his upside. He's 25 years old.
Young.
Did you hear how he just sounded on this show?
Absolutely.
Not a distraction.
I love it. I love it. But I'm so glad both of you guys are not in the damn front office. Because if you pay Amari Cooper that kind of money, all right, let's talk about what franchises need to do in order to win games.
Can't
right?
overpay receivers.
You can't do it. Here's the deal. If you don't have a record-breaking, game-changing guy at that position, you don't even have a conversation about them being close.
3-5, 7-2. 3-5, 7-2. How is he not a game-changing receiver? He was a season-changing wide receiver. Come on.
$20 million a year. Julian Edelman could have left New England and probably got paid upwards to $15 to $16 million a year based on how many Super Bowls he's been a part of and his production. You know what they paid him? A 2-year, $10 million contract, right? And Julian Edelman said, I want to win, because the things that I'm going to make outside of football will probably compensate me for what I did here in New England.
Yeah, but I want you to make sure you understand what you're saying. Because here's the deal. We're not sitting here talking about, at least I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not sitting here and tell you if I am a front office executive, I'm just going to throw $33 million in Dak Prescott's direction. What I'm saying to you is I'm a pundit and a commentator and a reporter who's talking about what other dudes who's supposed to be on his level are making. And I'm saying to you, based off of that, this is what he deserves because of what we're seeing. None of them would have got that. That's what I'm saying.
Bill, let me say
none of them would have. I should say none of Russell Wilson. I'd have gave him that contract. I'd have gave Russell Wilson that contract.
Quick, Marcus. Let me
Aaron Rodgers get what the hell he wants. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Not everyone's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
In fact,
Right.
no one else is Bill Belichick, right? Who can win without a real number one receiver, everything. I'll say this. If you have a number one receiver, you have a franchise quarterback, I think Dak is that. You have a franchise running back, obviously that's Ezekiel Elliott. You have an offensive line, you have a defense. Not every guy who's the best receiver on the team is a true number one receiver. Amari Cooper is a true number one receiver. You don't want to lose that. He is one of the triplets, if you consider Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper, that's going to put these guys in a position to win a Super Bowl. You said 15. The elite only gets like 16.
So, Max, let's go with, how much did they just give DeMarcus Lawrence? $100 million?
I don't remember what the guaranteed money was.
The guarantee was upwards of 60, I think, 70. All right. So you just paid your defensive stalwart.
Got to.
We're talking about paying Dak. Zeke is up after next year. All right. So at what point what guy are you going to identify and say, I know what he's worth, but I can't pay him that much. But if I don't pay him something, we're going to lose value as a team.
That's why
and not be able to win games.
That's why I'm not giving Dak more than 25.
Okay, Max, you had it there for a while, but the whole thing of I'm not going to give Dak more than 25 when you're looking around, how is it that he is supposed to look at Carson Wentz? Because I agree that the quarterback position is blown out of the water, okay? It's too much of the salary that's going to the quarterbacks. I agree with that. But just because you feel that that's not should be the going price, sorry, it's the going price. The genie is out of the bottle. You know, once Carson Wentz, who has yet to play in a playoff game, or actually in a do-or-die game even, who has injury situations, who could end up being the next Sam Bradford, gets 33. How do you tell a guy who has second most wins? And I know everybody says, oh, it's not because of Dak. If you honestly believe that offensive line was the same as it was in 2016, you're crazy. If you honestly believe that this team would be fine with Brandon Wheaton, then I've got a bridge I want to sell you, because it's not. And if you honestly believe that Amari Cooper, with this attitude, with this being the age that he is not a difference maker on what he did showing up with the Dallas Cowboys at mid-season with a new offense and turned a team around, you're stupid. That's all I got to say. If you can't recognize that value, because I look at that and say, think about just how much money the Dallas Cowboys made because they turned the season around. Do you think if they ended up being 3-7 that anybody was showing up for those games? The Cowboys would have been the toilet. And I know that money that's going into the pockets of the Cowboys and things like that is not translated into the salary cap. But I got to tell you, when you know how many jerseys are being sold by that guy, when you look at his attitude, when you think about and here's the other thing they put out there, that, well, you're a number one, so now you're going to get more attention, which is great. I love that. I hope he gets a lot of attention, because guess what? That means there's somebody else for the defense to focus on. If they're paying attention to Amari, then guess what? Zeke's going to eat him for lunch. If they try and pay attention to Zeke and Amari, guess what? Randall Cobb's going to get him. If they try and pay attention to Zeke, Amari Cooper, and Randall Cobb, guess what? Michael Gallup's going to get him. And if they try and pay attention to all four of those guys, they don't have enough guys. And that's about winning. And with the Dallas Cowboys, whether you're looking at Dak Prescott because of fantasy numbers and want to see 5,000 yards a season and 40 touchdowns, that doesn't matter. What matters is the Cowboys have come up with a formula that is winning games. We needed to translate it more into the playoffs, but maybe after finally getting into the playoffs, getting that one under your belt has got you situated to win in the future. So we got to go ahead and ride with this thing, and we've seen what the production is with this, and see where it goes. But my final thought here is, I don't know if you guys have noticed this like I have. And I don't know if this is the edict from ESPN or not, but it seems like whenever a former Dallas Cowboy player goes onto the networks, it's almost like you're coaching your kids in Little League. You got to be harder on them than you are everybody else to show that you're not favorites. Because you look at and you listen to some of the guys, it's like, man, you used to be a Cowboy player. Why are you throwing so much hate towards us? I think that's that ESPN stank that they're making them go ahead and put out there to be the show pony for them for hating the Dallas Cowboys. Leave your comments below and let me know what you think about that one. I'm Mark Holmes, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And just think, tomorrow is another Sunday without football, but it gets us that much closer. I'll see you guys soon.